Hello, my dear students. How are you? I hope that you will be very well, and I am also very well. Today, I am going to discuss units and measurements. In last class, I have taught you about third use of dimension, and I have given some examples, some example questions related to third use of dimension. Now I am going to give another some example related to third use of dimension. This is example question. If the equation of SHM is given by like this, where x and y are in meter and t is in second, then find dimensions of A, B. We have to find dimensions of unknown quantities capital A, small a and B. In this question, I have to find dimensions of unknown quantities capital A, small a and small b. We know that dimension of any trigonometrical function is equal to unity. Dimension of any physical quantity is unity. This means that powers of all fundamental quantities present in the definition of that quantities will be equal to 0. Okay? Here sin AT plus BX, this is dimensionless because any trigonometrical function has no dimension, means dimensionless. As for example, sin theta is equal to P upon H, where P is perpendicular and H is hypotenuse. Both are length. Therefore, dimension of perpendicular and hypotenuse will be equal to L, and this will be cancelled out and result will be unity. Similarly, angle will be equal to L upon R, where L is arc length and R is radius of curvature. Dimensions of L and R are L. Therefore, this will be cancelled out and the result will be equal to unity. Therefore, dimension of sine, cos, tan, any trigonometrical function will be equal to unity, that is dimensionless quantity. We know that according to third use of dimension, if a formula or equation is dimensionally correct, then what will be dimension of unknown quantities present in the equation of formula. Here this equation is dimensionally correct. This will be dimensionally correct if and only if dimension of left side will be equal to dimension of right side. This is dimensionless, therefore dimension of y will be equal to dimension of A, unknown quantity A. Dimension of y will be equal to unknown quantity A, therefore dimension of A will be equal to L. We know that any number, if any number has a unit in its power, then it will be meaningless. Therefore, here AT plus BX, this is angle, just like this. Okay, angle is dimensionless. Therefore, this will be dimensionless. Okay, therefore AT will be dimensionless, BX will be dimensionless. Dimensionless means dimension of this quantity will be equal to unity. Therefore, dimension of A will be 1 upon T, means T inverse, T to the power minus 1. This represents which quantity? This represents frequency. Similarly, now I am going to find the dimension of B. This will be dimensionless, this will be also dimensionless. Therefore, Bx will be dimensionless, means dimension of Bx will be equal to unity. Therefore, dimension of V will be equal to 1 upon x, and x is in meter. Therefore, dimension of x will be L, and this will be equal to L to the power minus 1. Okay. Now I am going to solve next question. This question is like this. Here E is exponential number. Here E is exponential number. The value of pi is approximately equal to 3.14. Similarly, the value of exponential number will be approximately equal to 2.700. Okay, and this is a number. E is a number. E in number. If a number has a unit in its power, then it will be meaningless. Therefore, this is a number. E is exponential number. Therefore, in power, this will be unitless. This will be unitless. This will be unitless if and only if time is in second. Time is in second according to question. Time is in second. Therefore, beta will be time also. This is second, this is second. Both are cancelled out. Therefore, dimension of beta will be equal to dimension of t. Dimension of beta will be equal to dimension of t. Therefore, dimension of beta will be equal to t. Okay. Similarly, this also will be dimensionless. This means that x upon gamma should be equal to unity. Gamma, dimension of gamma will be equal to L because x is in meter. This is dimensionless. Therefore, dimension of alpha should be equal to dimension of pi, and pi is in meter. Therefore, dimension of alpha will be equal to L also. Okay. This. Now I am going to solve next question like this. When the equation of motion of a particle is given by like this, where x and z are in meter, t is in second, and find dimensions of ABC. This is similar question as previous. Okay. This will be unitless. Therefore, dimension of t upon b will be equal to unity. will be equal to unity. Therefore, dimension of B will be equal to dimension of time. And dimension of C will be equal to dimension of Z. Since Z is in meter, therefore dimension of C will be equal to L and dimension of B will be equal to T. Here this quantity is dimensionless, therefore dimension of X will be equal to dimension of 3. Okay? This is homework. Dimension of 3A. Dimension of 3 is 1 and dimension of A will be equal to dimension of X. X is in meter, therefore dimension of A will be equal to dimension of X, which is equal to L, because X is in meter. Okay? Now I am going to discuss fourth use of dimension. What is fourth use? Fourth use of dimension is in finding relation or formula. As for example, this is example question. Let time period of a simple pendulum depends on mass of the bob, acceleration due to gravity, and length of pendulum. Then derive relation among them. First of all, we assume time period of simple pendulum depends on mass to the power A, acceleration due to gravity to the power B. Here A, B, C are any unknown quantities. You can assume any letters A, B, C, alpha, beta, gamma, a small a, b, c, etc. These are variables. A, B, C are variables. Here there are 3 variables. Then we have to find minimum 3 equations for solving. There will be 3 equations, minimum 3 equations for solving the equations, and we get our values of A, B and C. Writing dimensions of all quantities on both sides we get. Here dimension of time period is T. It can be also write as like this: m to the power 0, l to the power, because power of any quantity will be equal to unity. Dimensional method derive those formulas in which proportionality constant has no dimension, that is dimensionless. That is, dimension of proportionality constant is unity. This is unity. This is demerit of dimensional method. Dimensional method can never derive those formula in which proportionality constant has a dimension. This is demerit of dimensional formula. Now equating powers of MLT on both sides we get. Here power of M is A and on the left side power of M is 0. This will be equal. Both sides will be equal if and only if powers of M, L and T on both sides also will be equal. A should be equal to 0, B plus C should be equal to 0 and minus 2B is equal to 1. For this equation, B will be equal to minus half. Now putting this value in this equation, we get the value of C. Okay. Now putting this value in equation 1, we get our result. Okay. Here the value of K cannot be determined by dimensional method. The value of K is determined by experiment, and by experiment its value will be equal to 2 pi. Now putting this value in this equation, we get our result. This is time period of simple pendulum. Time period of simple pendulum depends only on length of the pendulum and acceleration due to gravity. Time period of simple pendulum does not depend on mass of the bob. According to question, time period of simple pendulum depends on mass. Okay, but dimensional method is very useful. Here dimensional method prove that time period of simple pendulum does not depend on mass of the bob. Okay. Now I am going to discuss next question. This is the next question. Let means suppose kinetic energy of a particle depends on mass of the particle, speed of the particle, acceleration of the particle. But we know that kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. Kinetic energy does not depend on acceleration. You can see dimensional method will prove that kinetic energy does not depend on acceleration. This means that the value of will be equal to 0. Value of C will be equal to 0. Power of any quantity is 0, then its value will be equal to unity. Okay. Writing dimensions on both sides similar as previous question. Process will be similar as previous question. We know that dimension of any energy like kinetic energy, potential energy, any energy will be equal to work. Therefore, dimension of kinetic energy will be equal to work, that is m L to the power 2 T to the power minus 1. And dimension of velocity constant is unity, and this is mass. Dimension of mass is capital M, and this is a speed. Dimension of a speed is Lt minus 1 to the power B, and dimension of acceleration is Lt minus 2 to the power C. After solving this will be, after solving this equation we get this. Okay. After solving these equations we get the values of A, B, C. A is 1, B is 2 and C is 0. Now putting these values in equation 1 we get our result. Here value of K cannot be determined by dimensional method. Value of K is only determined by experiment, and the value of K is determined by experiment, which is equal to half. Therefore, kinetic energy will be equal to half mv square. In question, option this will be given. This will be given in option, not this. Okay. Therefore, we can solve up to this. If you know the value of k by experiment, then you can put in the formula, and this will be equal to half mv square. Okay. Now I am going to end the class. Have a nice day. See you again tomorrow. Namaskar from my side.